Hey everyone, how are you? It's been an interesting week here, but we're going to do our live, okay? So let me ask you this question. What would it feel like to have your child to be able to read a passage, a chapter, a book, or anything, whatever level that they're on, read it perfectly, the right pace, the right speed, within expression, and knowing when to stop at the periods and when to pause at the commas? How would it feel? How would that feel to see that your child can do that? It'd be awesome, right? And then the other question I posed the other day was, how would it make your child feel if he was able to read fluently, right? So today I'm going to wrap up the week, what we've been talking about, and give you 4 strategies that you can implement at home to help your child, to help your kid to overcome or to become more fluent in this reading. Hi, if we haven't met yet, I am Jean Harville. I am a reading strategy coach, and I'm the founder of Raising Kids Who Love to Read, a Facebook community for Christian moms who are looking for effective reading strategies to turn their struggling readers into confident readers. And I'm live right now on my Helping Kids with Reading business page, which I go live every day, Monday through Friday, and generally about the afternoon time. And again, I'm a little bit later today. But anyway, talking about just different things that you can do, or different parts of comprehension. The comprehension seems to be the issue that a lot of you all are having with your kids, and that's, of course, that's the end result of reading, is to be able to understand and comprehend what you read. But there are also all the different factors that go along with that need to be in good condition so that we can get that strong comprehension. So we've been talking about those different pillars that hold up that umbrella of comprehension. So this, like I said, we've been talking about fluency this week, and fluency is the ability to be able to read smoothly any kind of material with a reasonably high degree of accuracy and observation of punctuation, when to stop, when to pause, when to breathe, right? Okay, and so the 4 areas that we were looking at this week was expression and smoothness. That was the first one that we did, and expression would be being able to again, use those punctuations to pause, to have that voice go up and that voice go down. You know, when you ask a question, your voice rises up, right? Or if it's something that is exciting, you have expression, and you can see that, you can hear that in the reading, and he's not just reading monotone like this, saw Dick, saw Jane, whatever, you know. So not reading in a monotone way, but reading with expression, because that definitely helps with comprehension. And then also to have that smoothness, which is not stopping and starting and stopping and starting and rereading again and stopping and starting and rereading again. It's like, are we ever going to get through this passage? I don't know. So expression and smoothness is our first strategy. Now, what we can do with expression is, and you can have fun with expression too. You can almost turn it into a theatrical type thing. You know, you can have them read the passage like they are. What would be a character that they would know? Some superhero character that they're very fond with. How that person would say it with string, and you know, they would say it in a very loud, dominating voice. Or they could read that passage, the same passage, in a very quiet voice. They could read it in different ways. They could have their voice go up and down and up and down. You can just play with it. Reread the same sentence over and over again and see how many different ways they can read that sentence. And what that's doing is that's helping them to train that their voice can do different things and not just read the same monotone way the whole way through. It's fun. It's a fun way to help them to kind of train that voice, that it can go up and it can go down, and you can raise his eyebrows and he can lower, you know, so he can get that expression, sort of like be the actor, or, you know, be like an actor. And then of course smoothness, be able to just read right through it. And when they've read a sentence or a passage, you know, multiple times, they'll smooth it out, and there won't be that halting and that stopping. And of course, the strategy number 2 is accuracy, being able to accurately read those words. And of course, comes into play would be the phonemic awareness, being able to excuse me, to know the order of the sounds that are in a word, the number of sounds that are in that word, be able to get that, to see that word one way and for it to process and come out the correct way. Like we talked about, if you had the word steps, and it may come out as pets. So, that's the phonemic awareness issue there. We want to be, we worked on that. And then also phonics, being able to break those words apart and recognize the word parts and be able to figure out what type of syllable that is and what is the vowel sound going to say. Also, we're talking about vocabulary, needing to know what the words mean. That's going to add a lot to the passage to be able to understand, to comprehend what's going on. And then sight words. Sight words are those words that don't play fair with our phonics rules. And so those are the words that they need to practice in order to become automatic with them and to read them accurately. So again, we can go back to some of the different strategies on, I know when they're reading a passage and they misread a word or they're not sure of a word, and you could just give them that word, just say the word, take note of that word, and then later on when they finish the passage, because you really want to try to get that pace and that smoothness going, and you don't have anything impeding, and then go back to that word that they had trouble with, pull that word out of the text, and just work with that word, analyze it. What do you see that you know about? What's the vowel patterns? What are the syllables? It depends on what the word is as to what type of question that you would probably ask to help them to figure out that word. And then once they do, and if the word has a meaning to it, then they build up that vocabulary, and have them image that word, and they can actually write the word in the air. They can make it in different colors. They can even put a picture with it. I think we talked about the word friend, and it looks like it says fry end. You can write fry end, and then you can have a picture of his friend, his buddy, holding the letters friend, so that when they see that word and they come upon it, they say, oh, I know what that is. I have an image for that. I have my friend holding the word friend, and so those are some different strategies or different things that you can do to help to train those vocabulary as well as the unknown words and how to figure them out with the phonics skills and that sort of thing. The next is rate, and this is how long it takes for them to read a passage. If it's going to take forever and ever and ever, that's not going to be any fun, and they're going to lose comprehension. They're going to lose the meaning of what's going on in that paragraph. They're not going to be able to predict what's coming next, right? So rate, we want them to read at a good rate, and there is a formula for rate, and I'm going to actually pop that up in the group a little bit later, and I'll put it on the page also. And I can't remember it right off the top of my head because I'm in a hotel right now, but I'll put that formula for the rate, and that way you can figure out at what rate that your child is reading the passages, and then you can kind of work through increasing that rate at a better that's appropriate for their grade level or actually their age. And I like to talk about age because I think when we put it at grade level, it's can be difficult, especially for struggling readers. How do you measure? You measure, I know school measures by grade, but really they are human beings, and I would rather measure by their age, what's age appropriate for them. That's just my opinion. So pace, like that just right pace. If they're reading too fast, reading too slow, or like if something is sad, they can slow down their reading word by word. If something exciting, then they can read it with excitement and again with that expression. So it all kind of works itself together, all these different 4 areas. And I give you some different strategies that you can use, that you can do to help strengthen each of those areas, those 4 areas, so that they can have strong comprehension. Because if any of those areas are falling apart, then it's going to affect the comprehension. They're not going to be able to predict what's coming next. Their image that they're creating while they're reading is going to fall apart. If they come across a word that they don't know what it means, they're not going to be able to make an image for it. So another thing about vocabulary is that I was talking about this yesterday, I believe, that put that speaking vocabulary in their thoughts. They don't have to read and spell these words, but if you come across, you can use words that are a little more advanced, but they could understand what they mean. You could use a a synonym of a word that they knew, like for instance, large or big, and then you could use the word gigantic. You can use some synonyms and expand their language, so their speaking language, and they can understand that and use that word gigantic, and in your conversation throughout the day, so they get the image, they get the picture of something really large. When they're reading and they come across that word and they start sounding it out and they go, oh, I know that word, it's gigantic. I know exactly what it means, because you've already have placed that into their vocabulary, into the language bank. So that's another thing that you can do along the way, and they don't have to be reading the word or spelling the word, so it takes that stress, off of them, but yet it helps them to be able to learn some really fun words. And I mentioned yesterday we taught my son how to read tepid, or how to say tepid before he even was 3. And so he walked into the preschool class and he started talking about tepid, and the teacher's like, how do you know the word tepid? He goes, because I know. And he knew what it meant. And so anyway, just giving him that language really is huge. It's really huge. And you can do that in the car, while you're traveling, on vacation. Anytime you see something, you could use a simple word that he would or they would know. Then you can actually take a synonym that means the same thing, but maybe a bigger, longer word, and start using that so that they get that, oh, that's another way of saying large. It's gigantic, or humongous. And that would be a hard word for them to read, humongous. But if they have it in their vocabulary, when they come to it, they go, oh, humongous, I've got that, right? So it kind of helps a little bit there. And it's also a lot of fun, too. So to promote reading fluency, you begin by selecting a high-interest reading. And again, you can actually do 1 to 2 years below their reading level, not their grade level, but their reading level. So go about 1 or 2 levels below, and then you could start working on some of these skills and helping them read passages that are a little bit easier, so they get that flow, get their voice used to reading quicker. If you tell a child, read quicker, you may not know what that means, because he doesn't know how to read quicker, and he's never experienced reading quicker. So if you're using reading material that's a little bit lower, and that you're pretty sure he knows those words, help him to be able to read with expression, help him to read with a quicker pace, not blah, 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 but a pace that's comfortable, seeing those commas, pausing, and when you do a comma, you can do 1 clap or if you see a period, 2 clap, pause. You can teach them that when they come to a comma, it's, and then they move on. I mean, that would be a period, and then if it's, let's see, comma, period. But you can time it out that way with them, and they can actually do the clap and the clapping also, to help them to feel like where that pause is, and help them to breathe, to take a breath, because sometimes the kids will read right to the very end of the line, not end of the sentence, but end of the line, and then they have maybe 2 more words in the sentence in the next row. Has that ever happened? And it doesn't make sense, because then they run that on to the next sentence, and the comprehension is messed up because it doesn't make sense. So you want to be noticing those different things that happen and that occur, and help them to recognize those periods and those punctuation marks as well. So when you're reading with them, when you're working on the fluency, you can trade off, read sentence by sentence. Like you read a sentence, they read a sentence, or a paragraph. You read a paragraph, they read a paragraph, or page. You read a page, they read a page. And practice and show them what reading with expression is like, and what fluency is, and the rate and the pace, and have them to hear how you're reading that, and be that model, so then when it's their turn to read, they can also model that same thing. A lot of it is just training, instead of just telling them, read faster, read smoother. I don't know what you mean by that. So you're just basically modeling it for them. You can have so much fun with this, especially over the summertime. It's really, and they think that they're having a great time, So then, and then if you're reading, like I said, if you are reading a word or your child is reading a word and he comes to a word that he doesn't know, just tell him the word. Because what we're doing right now is just getting through that fluency of that paragraph and getting that comprehension solid. Just tell him the word, have him finish, and when you finish that passage, then go back to that single word, pull it out, then you can start asking him, what do you notice about this word? What do you know about this word? Oh, it's got a prefix. Yeah, it's got a beginning or it has an ending. Well, where would we divide this word? You know, and what would that vowel say? And so then you can analyze that word out away from the text. Then have him reread the text again once he's figured out the word and figured out the meaning of the word. You've talked about it, and then put it back in and say, hey, let's read this again. And he goes and he reads it right through. And it's just a really great way to just help him feel good about himself. And that, yeah, I can read and I can learn. And this is awesome. And you just want to motivate, just really motivate your child. And just, you know, say, you can do this. And what you've done is you have broken something down for them. And then put it back in, and then you can read it, and they can read it, and they just feel motivated, like, oh, let's read another one, because this is really awesome that you're really helping me to break this apart, and not just say, well, you know, you didn't read this right, and in front of his peers or in front of his classmates. This can be done at home, and it could be a training for him, and just make it more fun, right? So excuse me, I'm got a frog in my throat. So if you want more effective reading strategies, then just, you know, like and share this video so other moms and have struggling readers can see it. And then also like and share follow the page so you'll know next time I go live next week, and Facebook will notify you. And then also, if you want even more, we would love to invite you into the Raising Kids Who Love to Read Facebook community for Christian moms who are searching for those effective reading strategies to turn their struggling readers into confident readers. And there's some free resources in there for you. That there's one on helping with sight words, and some really fun activities to do with that. There's one on actually helping your child learn nonfiction, and reading nonfiction is very, very different than reading fiction. So there's a free resource in there in that group as well. There's a few pre-join questions that I just basically ask, like, what's your main concern with reading? I want to know, so that I can gear lives and also material that I put into the group towards those concerns. Okay, so I know you're all busy moms, and I know that your time is precious, and I try to give it to you in small snippets so that you can, you know, take that few extra minutes that you have between serving your family and trying to help them with the reading as well. Okay, reading strategies. So anyway, y'all have a blessed weekend, and my air conditioning is back on, and so I'm so excited, so I get to go home. So it's been kind of crazy week with my internet going down and our power going out for 2 days, and now we are back up. So anyway, I'll see you guys. Y'all have a blessed weekend. Bye.